Do you think it's a process of like paralysis by analysis?
I think it's a combination of both. And I think it's the overwhelming thought of trying to perfect everything makes people procrastinate.
There's 5 core functions in business, right? So you have lead gen, lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, and then retention and ascension. I think they've got the lead gen side dialed in, that where most people like struggle and they're like, but they actually negate all of the other things that are actually required to make money.
And then it just stemmed from there. Then it was like, I'm just gonna keep doing shit and I just keep making more money. But then you start realizing money.
How much of it do you think is the difference between necessity and motivation?
So typically combination of both.
You have a million followers.
So a common theme across creators, right? It's lacking the business acumen to actually use your following to actually monetize it, right? The amount of times, I mean, you've probably had it before as well. The amount of times we've had a call where I've had it in the past where someone's like, I've got this massive following. I used to know a dude, a guy had like 700,000 people on Instagram, engaged as well, not bullshit followers, like fucking people liking, commenting, didn't know how to monetize it. And then I was like, and also the funny thing was, the guy was like he was a trader. So I was like, you've got the skill set, you've got the following. Like, how are you not going to course it?
Interesting. Yeah, because the reason this topic came up for me is I had a call recently with a very influential individual. Like, this guy has 1.2 million followers. He's gaining 40,000 followers a day, right? Mm-hmm. He's a well-renowned speaker, speaks all over the world, super on the motivation side of things. And they're right now trying to launch a digital system. And when I met with them, I was like, how are you guys not doing $1 million a month?
Mm.
Like, it's unreasonable to not do $1 million a month. And their whole thesis was, we're going to get a sales agency and then eventually we'll bring the system in house. And I'm like, if all you did was bring on a setter and a closer and have a high ticket program with a back end ascension, like, it's unreasonable that you guys not do $1 million a month, you know?
Yeah.
Well, not with one person, but just with enough.
Why do you think that is that way? They don't realize that.
I think it's different skill sets, right? Like, we are now learning the skill set of creating content. It's just not we learned the skill set of making money. And so the example that I have is that back in the day when we used to be able to run Facebook groups, I used to run an ad to a Facebook group. This was when I was working with personal trainers and fitness coaches. And we used to have a 3,500 people Facebook group. We had a setter in the Facebook group, just DMing, booking calls. And we were doing 150K cash collected, just me, my business partner, a VA, and a setter. So it's like, I think it's like different skills that come into it. But I know you've worked with some influential people.
We'll say, you know,
so I want to see your thought.
Yeah, for sure. Mr. You know who I'm talking about. He genuinely didn't believe in his product to an extent. The guy's got 1.4 million followers.
Wow.
And he was like, oh, I'm not too sure. He's like, do you think people are going to buy into this? He got that real estate offer where it's like they pay X amount, they come into his inner circle, and then they get access to various deals in renovation in Dubai currently, which is a massive market right now.
What was the price point for the offer?
Yeah, 10K to jump in, and then the investments can go anywhere from 20K upwards. So it's not even like you pay 10K and then you have to have $1 million to jump in. It's you pay 10K to have access to his deals. Because right now Dubai's in that market. The renovation market in Dubai, it's going through what the UK and the States have been going through for decades. Right now it's going through that.
Why is that? Because I don't know much. I mean, you and Riz are very familiar with the Dubai market. Is that just like development, like there's more land there, like what's the
not so
why is it
the way it ran is this? So whereas obviously UK, USA, we're talking centuries, however long old, right? Dubai was only really developed early 2000s, end of the 1990s. Like that's when it started becoming developed. So all of those initial buildings that were built, they're just dated now. So now it's going through that renovation zone, and it's really, so this guy, he had such a good offer. And then it was funny when I was telling to him, I was like, just me talking to you for 20 minutes, I could go sell your offer, just based on who you are. People will come and buy in because you're this massive person with 1.4 million followers. And you know what the funny thing is? Closed him 2.5 weeks, he got to close a place, close his first deal. First call he took first closed him in 10K. And now he's like, oh shit, of course, Imran, you made sense when we talked. I was like, yeah, no fucking shit.
Yeah, it makes sense if you do. I think what it is that I was talking to Riz about this last week. There's 5 core functions in business, right? So you have lead gen, lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, and then retention and ascension. I think they've got the lead gen side dialed in, that where most people like struggle and they're like, I'm gonna run ads and I'm gonna do all this stuff, but they actually negate all of the other things that are actually required to make money. And so now you're just sitting there with this massive audience, and it's just like an asset. And then you have guys like us, where like, just give me that dang audience and I'll just do something.
Give me that. I'm gonna make a shitload of money on that.
Yeah.
But you know where I think it comes and it stems down to is a lot of these people, and especially a lot of content creators, a lot of influencers, whatnot, is there were typically just someone who worked a normal job, started posting online, got a fucking audience, and now they're just like, I don't know what the hell to do, right? They just think, okay, I've got an audience now, and the followers is what they deem as successful. Until the point they realize, shit, I'm fucking broke, man. I need to go make this into money, right? It's the biggest area. I think there's so many content creators I look at and I just think you're missing a trick. Yeah, you get your YouTube AdSense and you get your paid views and whatnot on and sponsored posts on Instagram, but you don't even need to put that much fucking effort into the business. Get a funnel dialed in, start getting some book called close some fuckers and get a closer in. You could near enough stay, like you say, you've got the hardest part dialed in, which is lead gen.
Yeah. It's like a hockey stick. I had another guy in the financial space and massive YouTube. He's like, yeah, anybody that jumps on a call just purchases. And I'm like, how much do you do in revenue? $500,000. And I'm like, dude, does not make sense. And it's baffling because I do think that they get into this, like, let's make content. That's why, I mean, if you look at Hermosi blew up and he like monetized it because the guy just knows how to make money. And then he just learned how to make content.
Yeah. Right? And literally leverage that.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I've heard Hormozzi's closers are literally, some of their calls is like, so like they jump on, it's like, okay, we're doing this. Like that's how much of an influence he's built. It's just like, okay, cool, let's go do it. I've got that other influencer coming in next week, and I think it's gonna be the same parameters. Sometimes when you build that much, because sales is trust, right? In essence, it's like if someone truly trusts me, it doesn't really matter what I'm going to say to them, as long as it makes sense that they got the money, they're going to buy. But when you already leverage that trust before you even go into a sale, I mean, you know what I mean? You're just in. How many times have you? I mean, I've done it. You've probably done it as well. Like selling offers where, bro, I've sold to people that have got like 50,000 followers, barely anything, and then you gotta fucking sell, right? Then it's like, okay, I need to fucking build the most authority and sell this fucker, but. Yeah, someone like Hormozzi, the guy's just quite fortunate. But like you say, we're now coming into that content world. We've got the sales background. So yeah.
Touching back on that topic, you had said the person that you would work with, they didn't believe in their product. What do you mean?
Didn't believe it was that easy to sell it. So basically, when this guy is, again, without going into names, the guy had already a closer, right? They're doing some foreign closer overseas, right? And he's like, he's not doing well. And I was like, well, of course he's not doing well. It's like the guy, he's barely trained closer. He's based in, I think he was Trinidad or some shit. Like the guy was completely anywhere. And I just thought, yeah, he's not going to perform well. But when I then chunked down some of his numbers and I was like, look, X, Y, Z, and this many closes, you're going to get to this much. He was like, oh yeah, but it kind of sounds easy. I was like, because it fucking is easy, man. You've got 1.4 million, engaged followers, the biggest thing, right? You can have 1 million bullshit followers, but when you've got actual engaged followers, like that's the key. And I think that was the thing. When I then showed him, and to be fair, he was so skeptical. And I think even when I closed him, it wasn't a certainty close. It was a, look, this is going to work. You've got the money to use it. Like, you might as well have a crack at it, kind of thing. Like, and that was the only way I could get him in, because he was just so skeptical because of his background and his controversies, let's say. That's where we got into that issue with him. But I just had to really show him. It was just going, look, these people who have got 10% of what you've got in terms of following are doing these numbers. Like, it is arguably impossible, as long as you come in and put in the work and work with us, that you're not going to get 10x these results. And that's so when it really comes.
Yeah, so it was more confidence in it of himself rather than the product or the service that he was actually providing, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Interesting. Interesting.
Exactly that. You made
Interesting.
a point earlier as well in terms of selling without a product, which is it's funny because I had a call yesterday with a second call with a lady. Had like a potentially good offer. It was like empowering students, and she was targeting like principals and school districts, and that's kind of reframe her into that TAM's tiny. Right? Think about how many private schools there are in the US. We're talking like 30, 40,000. I had to reframe her into, look, we need to target homeschoolers and parents. As long as you're just doing power. If this curriculum is different, but her thing was mentally empowering, right? Had to completely reframe it. And she was in some weird mindset where she was just like she was giving me some weird analogies. What did she say again? She was like, yeah, I need to first perfect the product and this, that. And then I was like, how long is it going to take you to perfect the product? She was like, 3 months. I was like, how long did it take you to get on this call with me? She was like, 6 months. I was like, so you've potentially given yourself a 9-month runway to even start the business. And then when we then got into conversation, she was like, she had gone through some major life events and whatnot. And I really had to frame it and reframed it all the way to being like, that came down to me saying, look, you are wasting your days. And she said something quite funny. She said to me, so what we're on, this was the 21st of February. And she went, oh yeah, so we're basically at the 1st of March. And I stopped. I went, that tells me a lot about your mentality. You've just given up 7-8 days of work where you potentially could have got this done in a week. Long story short, reframed her all into it and then gave her a 2-week deadline to get the offer dialed in to an extent. Because I said, look, we're going to end up coming in and working on it anyway. But she still wanted to have a general basis because it was a reframe. But what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm just going to use evidence because evidence, like, and this is what I use whenever I'm consulting with a lot of these people that don't have a product, which is like, I just build the product for them. Now, given my background, it's very easy for me to do because I've never built, then sold. Like I've always sold and then built, right? I mean, in November, I freaking launched an offer. We were doing like 7x ROAS, no product, nothing at 4,800, got on a couple sales calls after ads. Product did not exist. And I was like, listen, well, give me 30 days. We're going to sign up a bunch of people. It's our next cohort. Right. And we were just going to build the product with the people. So I think a lot of it is that it's two things. One, most people don't know how to actually build a product. And two, most people actually kid themselves that they're as good as they think they are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to touch on the first one. And then I think the mindset one, I want to talk to you about this individual. The first one is I think people build a product based off of who they are, not what the person actually needs. Like, I think it was Paul Graham who has this quote where everything goes to shit when the product meets first touch with the customer. And that's from like the tech space. But even in like info space or service space or whatever, you want to be able to actually build the product week by week with the customer. So I'll give you my example. Like when I launched my first consulting business, I was like, hey, I'm looking for 5-6 people. I sold a bunch of them. And I said, listen, I don't have a product. I'm going to take you week by week. It was a freaking Google Doc. And I just recorded Loom videos step by step. They would ask me a question. I would make the recording of it. And that went on to become a $5,800 product. I just built it with the customer. And that's why the product was so good and it delivered results, because I answered all of the questions that the person would ever need. And then it turned into that group coaching. So I think first is people want to build this like perfect thing, when in reality, it just needs to be like sell a bunch of it and then build it with what the person actually says. That's where like in tech, if you know, there's like product market fit, where it's like, go have 100 conversations. People will tell you exactly what they need, and then just build that and then go resell it to those people that you had conversations to, because you're already selling in that capacity. So that's one. The second one I want to touch on is like, I think most people are not as good as they think they are. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Expand on that a little bit, and then I'll give you some thoughts on that.
So this individual was like, I want to go sell this. I want to go change the world, empowerment, woohoo. But then when like push comes to shove, you open up the basket case. It's a real basket case where it's like, I need someone to believe in me until I can believe in myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's actually not as good as they're painting it in their mind.
They think, no, that's solid. And I've just had a random thought on that. It's almost like, imagine you're my target, right? but I'm building you a house. And I've just fucking built you a house without me thinking, Mo's probably going to like this house, man. He's probably going to love it. You get in like, this is fucking shit. We need to rip this down. Like, it would have been so much better for me to just build a bit of a foundation and then get you in and say, hey, look, how do you want this room? How do you want this? It's the same thing, right? Same principle. Yeah. And it's funny because I dabbled my hand in e-commerce a long while ago when in my younger days. And bro, I thought I had the best idea. I saw a smart bin. It was this fucking bullshit product. And I thought this is going to be the sickest product in the world. Chucked a shitload of that. Well, I got like one sale off the fucker, man. Like, it was terrible. Like, absolutely I'd built this whole campaign, this whole funnel, linked up all the back end for the drop shipping, and it was terrible. And this is so true. Like, have a as I always say to clients, I'm like, your job is to build the foundation. Our job is to fully do the interior design and get to perfection. Like, that's what you need to do. And that's the only way that comes is practice. I mean, that's not even just from closing. It's generally when you're starting a business anyway, right? No, you're never going to get a business partner. No business partner. Amazon was selling books when they first started, right? If Jeff Bezos thought, let me think what the end product's going to be, he never would have started the business, right?
Yeah.
Because you never do start. It's overwhelming. Yeah. And I think that's everything in life. And it's the same thing as if you're completely out of shape and you think, I need to get to Mr. Six-Pack, massive, but like, you just probably won't do it because it's overwhelming, unless you're a certain type of person, right? But the majority of people, you're just never going to do it until you actually get in and spend that first day pumping some weights, and then you gradually learn and grow from there. And so it's the same thing that works into sales and business.
Do you think it's a process of like paralysis by analysis, or is it just they just don't know what they're doing, or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. And I think it's the overwhelming thought of trying to perfect everything makes people procrastinate. I think that's the biggest thing. And then they're like, I can't do it. Or and there's almost like an excuse they give themselves. Like, I can't start yet because I've not got XYZ done. You know what I mean? It's like, then they kind of rationalize not starting or just doing it wrong. Because they're like, it's fine. I need to. But it's like, no. You're giving yourself an hour. I mean, there's obviously so many facets to it. Some people generally think, no, I need to get this all dialed. I want to deliver the perfect product. That's one of the most bullshit sayings ever. Like I said, I can't name a company that has the product they use now was the same product they had at the start. Like, it's just not a thing, right?
Except Coca-Cola. Maybe Coca-Cola.
Except Coca-Cola. Well, now you say that. They had one ingredient which they took out now. So.
Yeah, they definitely changed the ingredient there. Okay. So when you're consulting people, Imran, like, how do you recommend them actually go about tweaking their product? Or if somebody doesn't have a product, actually launching or building some sort of service? Because for us, our expertise is service and consulting products, right? Primarily. Yeah. How do you usually recommend going about it? Because I have maybe a different way, but I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay. My thing is, I think you and me are gonna have a similar standpoint on this. It is just start selling, because the only way you build is with clients, right? It's the same way. Again, it's the same principle getting into sales, right? If you thought to yourself, I need to get the perfect pitch and every rebuttal and every objection and whatnot before I even jump on a sales call, you'll never jump on a sales call. It's the exact same principle when it comes into that business side of thing. When people are in that mindset of it's like your customers are going to tell you how your product should be, how your business should be. It's the same. That's my mindset on it. But trying to communicate that sometimes to a client is different. But I think it just comes from a standpoint of, we know how businesses run. Like, we've been inside them, we've seen them. Like, there's no company that works the way that, and you got to kind of tell the client sometimes, it's like, look, with all due respect, you're doing 5-10K a month or fuck all a month, right? There's a reason you're doing that. And it's because you're not doing what everyone else done with all the successful people done, which is start selling, start building a client base, and then tailor your business according to that.
Yeah. It's funny. I've used the line where, I sometimes use a line, and maybe this is a little egotistical. My wife tells me this all the time. Like, listen, I make more money than you, so you just shut up and listen to me. Shut up and listen to me. But sometimes, man, some of these people are just like, you're delusional about business. Like, it's just not going to work. Like,
100%.
Like my friend. 100%. Yeah, I think this is my take, and this is just from personal experience. Every time I have sold a product, I need at least an outline of what I'm going to do. So I open up a Google Doc, I first create the offer. Once the offer is actually created, and this is how I sold the last offer that I was testing out, which was didn't have a product. Talk to my business partner. I was like, listen, can we deliver on these things? I have this grandiose idea. Can we deliver? It's like, yes, we can deliver. This is how it's structured. Okay, cool. Let's make an outline. Step 1, step 2, step 3. What are all the milestones that somebody needs to hit in order to get from what we're promising them on the offer, which is point A to point B, right? And so then it was just a pure just outline of what do they need to do? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So when then I went into a sales call, somebody asked me a question about logistics or stuff like that. I'm just like, hey, I already mapped out the outline. I already know what that's going to look like. I have more conviction in my sales process because at least I have an outline ready to go, you know?
Yeah.
Or it maybe potentially work with some one-on-one clients, and that gives you a little bit of like confidence in what it is that you're doing. Another big thing I don't think most people realize, and I utilize this a lot when I'm writing copy offers and building a product, Imran, is that just scrape Reddit. Have AI scrape Reddit, and people are unfiltered on it. They'll tell you exactly all the problems that they're running into, and then just map out the solution.
Yeah, true.
So that's usually my take on it, where build the outline, like as you're creating the offer, once the offer is done and like once the ads are live and you're seeing calls being booked or people purchasing, whether it's a low ticket or opting in or whatever, then go into building out the outline of what is going to be the step-by-step things that this person needs to take in 12, 16, 6 months. That way, when you do communicate with the customer, it also helps you like create your pitch, I've found, because a pitch is what, 3 or 4 logical pillars of, and so you just condense down the outline into your pitch. But that's usually my my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Which is, it's funny because it literally it rolls around everything. That same principle, even the same. Let's take a sales process, for example. The way a lot of these people want to map out everything, it's like us having an exact word track on a fucking Word document, right? And then getting onto a call with someone and expecting to follow that exact. They're going to throw something, and you're going to be way off track, right? And then you have to adapt to the client. Same thing with the business side of things. So if you're a content creator and you need some help, comment down below.
Shameless plug. We'll help you make lots of money.
We'll help you get that down.
If you don't hate money, comment below.
Yeah. If you got over 100,000 followers and you're not making 100K a month, comment down below. We're gonna help you out.
Dude, fuck that. If you got like 10K followers, like,
shit, we got you.
Oh, man, too funny.
What about your? Let's go on that mentality topic, because I always love it, right? Because business, sales, where it is, right? I think I came to this distinction about like mid-20s, is because whenever someone gets into business, the term motivation is always thrown around, right? It's always, hey, be motivated. But you know what I realized was discipline beats motivation every day of the week. Because you don't wake up motivated. Not every day, right? Some days you wake up fired up, like I'm ready to go, I'm ready to crush. Yeah. But it's that success comes from the days when you don't want to do it, and then you still get it done. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think motivation is fickle.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 sides of the coin. I think like motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. And I made an entire video on this. Like, me and Steve are nerds. And then I was having a conversation with Steve, and Steve was like, dude, you're just a nerd. I have this like strategic system on a weekly basis where like I just know every single day what needs to get done. So rather than waking up and trying to figure it out, it's just like, hey, this is what needs to get done. And no matter what, I've ingrained it in my mind that these 3 things, come hell or high water, need to be completed in my life. And if I don't win the day. If I don't win the day, I don't win the week. If I don't win the week, I don't win the month, et cetera, et cetera. So I think James Clear talks about this, like you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And so I don't even believe in discipline that much. I think discipline is just a byproduct of like you showing up and doing the work. Yeah. But I think I'm going to probably take this on a side note. I think most people don't even know the work that they need to do. So what ends up happening is they use motivation to do shit that doesn't actually matter. And then they're like, things are not working. therefore I'm not motivated, therefore I'm not successful, therefore nothing works. And so it's just like vicious cycle because they don't actually know what they're doing. But side tangent on that. But I do agree with you. I think it's like motivation's great to get you going. You need that discipline because consistency trumps effort all day long.
Yeah, motivation's a spark, right? Because you're never going to start unless you get that wave of motivation. Because we all got it, right? When we were younger, and it's like, I want to make more money than whatever I'm doing right now, and then that's that motivation to get it done. But then, yeah, you're right. Productivity, and actually, I can say a plan. I like that planned approach. Just like if I don't do this now, my days are ruined. If I don't X, Y, Z, then my week's ruined. I think that's solid. And I think that's the bit, again, comes back to the whole, to bring this back into our topic of today, is having content and not being able to monetize, or having a selling without a product. It's the same thing, right? They know you need to do something. Like, I wish I had 100,000 followers, right? And this is where we're going into now. It's why we're going into content now, because content it always has been, but you've got fiat currency, you've got cryptocurrency, and then the other currency is attention, right? Attention is one of the biggest currencies. It has been for centuries, but since the dawn of time. But in this day and age, it's massive with all these platforms and everything. Like, you look at streaming now, like people are watching people are watching other people for 8 hours, and if you have
real? Is that a thing?
Streaming's crazy now, bro. Like, that's obviously cool. Even podcasts. Like, think about it. Some people sit and watch podcasts for 2-3 hours, right? Joe Rogan is like, his podcast for 3 hours. People watch it, but we're streaming these top streamers, bro. Like, and you got to think how much money these guys make, because from a business standpoint, let's say you're Pepsi, right? Let's say you got to pay X amount to have their advert on TV for 15 seconds, but they can pay a streamer fraction of the price to have the product in behind them for 8 hours. Or some of these guys do like 30-day streams, just constant streaming. They'll stream while they're sleeping and shit. And that attention is invaluable. Like that,
I'm in the wrong business,
bro.
Yeah, we're in the wrong business,
man. We need to start streaming. I tell you, start streaming ourselves.
stream our sales calls all day long.
literally, stream the sales. It's crazy, bro. Like, what's his name? That Kai Cenat, 30-day stream he done. I think he done. The guy cleared like, I heard like 5 million in 30 days from his streams, like just from him streaming. And it was just him streaming. Like, I don't go, okay, he's quite big now. He had loads of celebrities on, whatnot. But this is another thing, right? Why do you think people like these massive celebrities, your Kevin Hart, your whatnot, are going on to these streamers who have only been famous for 2 years? Because they know that the new age attention is on this streaming and YouTube and whatnot. That's where this new age is. Not us. Like, we don't watch stream. I mean, you and me are never going to sit and watch a stream for 8 hours. But these 15, 16, 20-year-old kids, like, it's almost just like re-engaging that age group for someone like Kevin Hart, who's in his 40s, maybe nearly 50s. Like, now he's captured that whole attention and ongoing. So it's in benefit of both parties. This is how powerful this fucking stream has become. That's crazy.
That's crazy. And so is it like, are they making money off of like AdSense, or like, are they making money off of sponsorships, or is it a combination of like both?
So typically combination of both. So the platforms they use, there's 2 other platforms. There's Twitch and Kick. That's the 2 big streaming platforms. So obviously the platforms pay them. If you're big, you get paid a certain amount from the platform. Do you know what it is? Donations, subscribers. Like, people will pay £5 a month just to, and you get, some of these guys have got like a few 100,000 subscribers who are all paying £5 a month just to be subscribed to the channel to watch the streams before they get released and everything. And again, it's attention, right? But it comes down to, you got to be, and this is why a lot of them are a bit extravagant, let's say. Like, you got to be a bit out there, a bit stupid, a couple of stupid stuff to just really gain that audience, and maybe even do some controversial shit to gain the audience. Because someone just sat there talking, you're probably not going to hold 8 hours worth of attention. Like, you got to be a character, let's say. It's got to be entertainment. So there is that element to it. But yeah, so subscribers, ads, obviously then sponsorships as well, because like I say, these big companies are clocking onto it, man. They're like, yeah, let me pay these guys You can pay him like 20k. And if you're a streamer, like you're taking 20k just to have a Pepsi can behind you. You know what I mean? Like easy. And then you probably got like 5 other things behind you as well. So yeah, it's massive now, man.
Like, it's funny you say that. I think the young kids nowadays are like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And it's like, "I want to be a YouTuber." You know, like that. Like it's like a profession now. But this reminds me of like Naval's quote, like, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes," because it gets to a point where like, you know, in Urdu we have like HUD. There's a HUD to the things that you're gonna do. Like, you're just gonna show up naked for 8 hours a day. It's like everyone's just gonna try to top you. Like you're like if you're gonna be Mr. Beast just has to top himself every single time. And so it's like eventually what's the HUD of like the max sort of pinnacle of the thing that you're gonna do. I think there was have you heard of Black Mirror, the show on Netflix?
Yeah. The Netflix show,
Yeah, there was a one episode of that was around a guy who started streaming, and they were making this guy do like the worst thing in the world, man. This guy had to like drink his urine, knock off his like toe, put like, it was like horrible. And then people were like, it was just people were paying him to actually do things like that, you know? And so I think that was a real reality of what people are willing to do for money, just so they don't actually have to develop a skill.
That's
hard.
That's true. But it's also, I think it's also human nature as well. Like, we naturally get bored as humans. Like, we keep watching the same thing. It's if you look at even fighting, for instance, like boxing was the main sport for however long. And then starts getting famous? UFC, a bit more hands-on. Now it's kicks, now it's legs. And now beyond UFC, you've got bare knuckle fighting.
There's bare knuckles. I heard about that. I had somebody jump on the call. He was like, I'm a bare knuckle fighter. And I was like, dude.
Bro, this is it. Now that's getting better. And you always see there's films on like, even if like the extreme will be like the Hunger Games and whatnot, but there's a strong possibility like down the line we'll go back to that gladiator age.
Dude, there's Alone and then there's Hunger Games. You just you're good there. That's funny, dude. Yeah, they have the slapping competitions now.
That powers.
My wife has sent me some of those clips, and they're just hilarious. Where like people start crying.
It's a speed running CTE at this point. Like, it's just speed running it.
It's intense, man. It's intense.
But again,
going back to that.
Go on.
Going back to your topic about motivation, how much of it do you think is the difference between necessity and motivation?
Elaborate a little bit more on the question.
I'll use my experience because I can only speak for myself. When I got into the game of business, sales, making money, I had to do it out of necessity. I was just broke.
Yeah.
And so like, the motivation was simply just like, fuck, I hate being broke. I don't want to be broke anymore. And so I just didn't want to be broke anymore, that I just worked so hard to not be broke, you know? So how much of it do you actually think it's necessity and then we just see it as motivation? But like, most people are just like, what is the Eric Thompson thing where like, I need to see more than I want to breathe?
Yeah. But this is the thing, right? Your motivation triggered that. Because even though you had a necessity, bro, you could have very easily got a job that pays you 6 figures a year. You know what I mean? Like, you could have got to live that life, and you wouldn't have been broke. I mean, you wouldn't have been wealthy, you wouldn't have been broke, but you would have been doing well enough to enjoy your life, right? Which typically the normal person does, right? But your motivation came from not just, I need to get out of this, I want more than what my current situation is going to give me, but I also need to get the fuck out of this. So it's that joint thing, right? Of like, I need to build this to a point where I don't need to go work, or I need to do something X, Y, Z. And that's where I think the motivation still falls into the necessity. But your why, like you say, you said with ET, is that your why was there, right? You know, you wanted to break out the normal figures of money, and you needed to. So that combination is just fucking fantastic. And then you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, as you said.
What was your motivation for you to?
Yeah, I think mine again was that kind of factor of, I think I was like 16, 17, and just realizing there's more to this life, right? Because when you grow up in school, you always think like 40k a year, 50k a year, especially in the UK, right? Which is like 60, 70k US. Like, that's successful. You're a lawyer, you're a doctor, or that's the most money you're gonna make. Like even hearing those numbers as you're growing up. But then it comes to a point when, especially with Riz and everything, like me and Riz, obviously, we've worked together for decades now, and we both come to a realization of, there's more to it. And then that was when I moved to Dubai. Then that made me realize even more, because when you're like, it's what's that saying? You're a product of your environment, right? If you grow up in somewhere broke and you're just constantly around broke people, like 40K is going to sound like a fucking dream, right? But then I had this vision, and me and Riz both were like, we want more. So that's why we chased it in Dubai. And then you're in Dubai and your environment's fucking Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Bugattis, like everything, right? And then it just stemmed from there. Then it was like, I'm just going to keep doing shit. And I just keep making more money. And then you start realizing money. And then you start realizing like, you make money. You can make money yourself, which is a weird saying, because obviously you make money yourself, but most people get paid by someone, right? You work for someone and then get paid. But then when you realize the actual psychology of money and realize how it works and there's so many avenues to get it, then I really started making money when I had multiple avenues, when closings pay me 1 point, another trade is putting me this point, investments, and then you're like, the streams are now making sense. The rivers are making sense. So I think that's where it will stem from. And now it's continuing to grow as well.
That's sick, dude. It's awesome.
Clip it, man.
Clip it. You ready to wrap up?
Shit. Yeah, cool, man. Let's wrap up.